Second the motion.
And
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but just a reminder that all the motions that we have tonight, because we're doing video conferencing, would need to be roll call votes.
right, okay. Well, then why don't you call roll, John?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Hallberg,
Aye.
Commissioner Romans,
Aye.
Commissioner Messina,
Aye.
Commissioner Siebenauer,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson.
Aye.
Okay, I have 5 ayes.
All right. We have a public hearing this evening. I think first we'll listen to a staff report from Justin Fortney regarding Spiral Brewery Special Use Permit 2020-25, the amended tap room rooftop seating. Justin?
Thank you very much. I'll do a screen share here and show you the report.
Excellent.
The public hearing is to review the request of Spiral Brewery to expand the tap room by adding a rooftop deck. Their existing operation, which was approved in 2017, special use permit. 3,500 square foot, one level building was built in 1863. About half the building is used for retail sales and half for production and storage. Rooftop seating area would be between 400 and 500 square feet and allow for about 20 seats. Top seating was mentioned in 2017 during the review, but it hadn't yet been designed. Some of the improvements for that proposal were included in the original rehab operation for the rooftop seating. That included the internal stairway and access to the roof. The purpose of the reviewing of a brewery and tap room as a special use permit is to assure that it's operated within the nature of the area, since this includes a manufacturing component. The use was originally approved in 2017, and there has not been any issues since that time. The proposed rooftop seating will not change the operation of the facility other than add additional seasonal seating on the back portion of the roof. No complaints have been received for the operation since they've opened. Liquor license ordinance, along with state statutes, regulate hours of operation. A brewery with tap room can operate similar to other on-off sale establishments. The applicants anticipate the rooftop to be utilized Wednesday through Sunday from noon to as late as 11 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. Existing buildings and uses downtown are exempt from the parking requirements unless converted to a restaurant, tavern, or lounges. Those conversions must provide additional parking beyond the previous uses parking requirements or receive an exemption. This operation received an exemption in 2017 for the business due to a parking study at that time showing there was ample parking spaces available in existing public spaces in the area. Since that time, area parking capacity has been expanded significantly with the addition of a parking ramp. In addition, the rooftop seating is seasonal, weather dependent, and largely optional seating for existing customers. Proposed building improvements include a rooftop deck, railings, exterior stairways for emergency egress. One small stairway is proposed between the roof of Spiral Brewery and the Meyer building next door to the east. Emergency egress stairways are reviewed and approved through the building safety department. I'll show those layouts in a second. The Heritage Preservation Commission will review the proposal at their June 16th meeting because it takes place in a historic district and there's limited exterior changes to the look of the building. It was sent to property owners within 350 feet of the subject property. No comments have been received at this time. Recommends approval of the request as presented, subject to the conditions in the staff report. Aerial picture, you can see a red outline, which is the general location of the seating area. Just to the south, there is a little box, doghouse. It's the enclosure for where the stairway enters the roof from inside of the building, which will be the access for patrons and staff. You can see it better in the other pictures, but I'll show it on the aerial picture. There's going to be a small stairway added because there's a few feet difference in height from the two buildings. there's an existing stairway that would be utilized on the back of the Meyer building for emergency situations. And then along with that, there'll be a railing put around the buildings in areas where people would have access to those stairways in emergency situations. Diagram showing the layout and the seating layout of the outdoor seating area. It would be about 4 tables with 2 benches along either side. Gray boxes are existing rooftop equipment. And, this large rectangle over here is the back of the Meyer building, which is also a 1-story building, but slightly lower. If there was an emergency and people had to exit from the back of the building, they would go through a gate here, and all this would be fenced in. They'd walk down stairs and these stairs and gain access to the back alley. Another thing to point out is in the area of the seating, there's no adjacent 2nd-story buildings. Both of them are either a single story in the back adjacent on the Meyer building, and then the building to the west does not extend that far. So as far as incompatible with adjacent buildings, it's not as likely that would cause any type of issues. A couple more angles here. This is kind of a 3-dimensional representation. This would be the gate, and then the series of stairways, specifically the seating area. This is shown without any tables in the middle. Also, this the building for that entrance is only about this big, and all the way along to the other building. Picture looking at it, looking to the south from the alley. The building on the right with the red arrow is generally where the seating area would be, up top of this first level. And then there would be the stairway going down a couple of feet to the back of the Meyer building. And then this is a gate for the stairway that is just off screen here. And here's another picture. This is that top entrance that goes to the internal stairway to the brewery. Seating area would extend to around this area here. And this is a photograph taken from the stairway looking to the north. This red box is just a representation of the general area that I put on there just from the plans that were submitted. The existing rooftop equipment. Staff can answer any questions before or after the public hearing.
Courtney, maybe I'll start with John. Do we have anybody queued up public hearing wise?
Chair, we do have the applicant Amy Fox in attendance for the meeting, but that's the only person in the audience at this point.
Okay. And if any of the commissioners have questions, then we can direct them to Mr. Fox. So, meeting and close the meeting since we have no participants, or?
Yeah, at this time, Mr. Chairman, it would be best to open the public hearing, see if there's any comment, and then close the public hearing.
All right, well, we'll open the public hearing. Bang. Yeah. And any comments from anyone?
Anyone that's in the audience, if they want to use the raised hand feature to speak during the public hearing, they can choose to do so. And at this time, I do not see anybody wishing to speak. If that changes, I'll let you know. And you can also ask Ms. Fox if she wants to join into the meeting too, to answer any specific questions you may have for her.
we'll certainly have her joining the meeting, correct? If we have from the commissioners, we don't need to be in a public hearing for that, do we?
Correct. That is correct.
All right. Well, hearing nothing from participants, why don't I close the public hearing? And I'll open this up to the staff, or I should say the commissioners. Comments, questions? I can certainly say this is an exciting new development, and I know it's been kind of in the brewing. Get it? It's been brewing for a while. So that's my 2 cents. Anybody got concerns about the plan, the layout?
Mr. Chair, I just have 2 questions and 1 comment.
Mr.
First,
Hallberg?
I'm completely in favor of this. I think it's a fantastic addition to town and also to Spiro Brewery. So I applaud them. My 2 questions I have are, how would they police to make sure there's no rooftop smoking? Just concerned of anyone that might be up there with the age of some of the buildings around and not. I'm leery of fire breaking out. What is the concern for people that might use the back stairs to exit the premises on a normal occasion? I know it's supposed to be for emergency, but they decide they're going to take their beers elsewhere and go out the back side and go down the stairs. I just worry about that safety aspect, what the plan was for that. Those are my two questions and concerns.
Yeah, I don't know if this is up to city staff, possibly. Have any of these things been thought about or addressed?
You know, I can ask, we can bring Amy into the meeting. She might be able to address some of these a little more. I'm going to do that right now. And she should be in here in just a moment.
Hello.
Hi, Amy. Can you hear us?
Hi. Yes, I can.
Good,
I'm happy
thank
to answer those questions. Starting with the smoking, the only thing we've discussed internally so far, and I'd be open to any other suggestions, but is, signage on the way up. And then, like you said, policing with our beer tenders. I mean, it's mostly going to be sort of like it normally is. You order your beer, you go up and sit and then come back down. But our staff are going to have to go up and, get empty glasses and check it periodically. So that will be more of the policing side of it for smoking. But yeah, having signage up for sure. And then we are hoping we can incorporate an alarm into that gate on the back of the patio. So for at least for that purpose, either people, time it opens, an alarm would sound. So we're hoping that would help discourage people from either leaving that way or entering that way. Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks, Amy.
I'll just mute and listen in case you guys have other questions.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Commissioner Siebenoller.
I'm just Amy's owner, correct?
Oh,
Okay.
yes, I'm one of the owners.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
I'd like to put across a couple thoughts. I don't know if, just kind of things to talk about potentially. The hours of operation being regulated by the liquor license and state statute. What are those hours that are already allowed? That'd be a Justin or John question, I think.
I believe it would be the same hours as any type of existing bar is. I'm not sure what their latest hours, if it's 1:30 or 2 a.m. or something like that.
It could potentially, they may want to do it hours now, but potentially the license allows them to do it till 2 a.m. Whatever it is, 1 a.m. as any other bar in town.
That's what our licensure allows, but I mean the latest we're open at least right now is 11, and I really don't anticipate or foresee us ever being open much later than that because we don't really want people there drinking beer past 11. So that's kind of our plan. Don't have any intention to change it. So, but good question.
And then I'm curious, it talks about seasonal, but that doesn't define anything. To get I mean, does that seasonal, I don't know. I mean, you know, us Minnesota people, we can be with winter coats on and be outside all year round.
Yeah, that was Commissioner Siebenthaler. That was my term. Outdoor seating is generally just in our state listed as seasonal seating. Is it affects at parking standards and whack and sack charges and stuff of that nature, just because outdoor seating is not generally utilized in the winter time. It's not prohibited, but it's just very unlikely.
Else, Commissioner Siebenthaler, are you okay?
Looking at my notes.
He's browsing through that. Anybody else want to jump in? Commissioner.
I guess I would just like to say that I'm very supportive of this plan. I think it's been a long time coming. Something the community would really need in that downtown area to bring, expand the business, give that kind of, it's a little obstructed of the river, obviously, but it still has that that feel that they're kind of looking for in downtown aspect. And I do really like Commissioner Hallberg's questions about the gate, and I do agree with Ms. Fox when she described a way of putting an alarm on that back gate. I know the patrons there are probably 99% of them will follow the rules of everything, but just to have that, so in case people don't just start kind of just wandering out somewhere where they shouldn't. But ultimately, I don't see any problems with it, especially since that area is fenced off as well. So if somebody does walk out there, that it will be a safe location, but not encouraged. I'll put it that way. So I agree with the signage, and I agree with having the alarm in the back gate. But otherwise, I'm very supportive of this plan as written in the staff report.
Thank you, Kyle. Else, comments, concerns?
Nope.
Yeah, and I would agree. I think this is a highly desirable amendment to what we've seen going on down there at the brewery. As to
Mr. Chair.
go for it.
All right, I'll just get started. I'd just like to make a motion to approve special use permit 2020-25 for the amended tap room rooftop seating for 111 East 2nd Street, subject to those 4 conditions listed in the staff recommendation as is.
Got a motion on the table. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
Can I ask a question before a vote?
Absolutely. Any further discussion? Commissioner Siebenthaler.
Yeah, I'm just curious, current ordinance, can they have bands out there?
I guess I'm looking at the logistics of the space. If it were to be a band, it would be a very small band. I don't know exactly how that works, to be honest with you. I don't know if anybody else does, if Justin does, or if Amy has any interest in having musicians on the roof.
Just be nicking his guitar, playing all night long.
Yeah, I was just thinking through that in my head. I mean, honestly, the only thing we could even fit would be like a person playing acoustic music. We're not intending for it to be like a jam out place or anything. Want to be respectful of our neighbors.
Now with ordinance, it's allowed. That's my question.
Commissioner, I don't know if there's a prohibition on the playing of music. I guess it really comes down to the volume of music. We do have a noise ordinance that has certain decibel levels that they would need to stay under, but extent.
I would suspect that some of that housing to the west would look right out onto the patio. You know, those guys' view out their window will be that patio. I mean, they're not right next to each other across, but they're just within feet of the residential windows on that west building.
Yeah, we do have some privacy fencing in the plan to hopefully help with a little bit of that, mostly for the visual, but hopefully it will help a little bit with sound. A little, we'll see.
Yeah, that's great. 'Cause I would suspect, I mean, the people that got notice, you know, it's the property owners, not the residents that get notice that that this is going in. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, can I have you call roll, Mr. Hinsman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Hallberg. Commissioner Romans.
Aye.
Commissioner Messina.
Aye.
Commissioner Siebenhaler.
Aye.
Chair Johnson. I will note that as 5 ayes.
All right, Amy, I appreciate you taking some time to be here with us tonight. You helped a great deal with some of our discussions. So.
Of course, thank you very much.
Thanks,
Have a good
Amy.
night.
Thank you.
A reminder to the commissioners here, this will go to the city council next Monday on June 15th for final action on that. And then I think as Justin had pointed out too, it's going to visit HPC, I think the next day on the 16th. And so hopefully things will be set here shortly. Thank you.
It goes to council before HPAC?
Correct. It goes to the city council prior to the HPC. The HPC has final authority over these type of decisions.
Oh, okay.
Any other business?
Well, commissioners, I know it's been a while since we met here and the world's a little bit different than it was back in April. As far as activities go around here, I was sharing with some of the commissioners prior to the meeting, we haven't seen a slowdown on the requests as far as new development goes. The 2 senior apartment buildings are moving forward. The annexation's moving forward. We have another housing subdivision proposal at this point for townhomes at North Ridge and Pleasant Drive, which is in a conceptual stage, and they look like they're going to be submitting application in the near future as well. So those are all good signs here. I know Justin's been busy with permits as people have been at home. They've been doing activities, which has been great. And we've been very busy on the economic development front. We've provided a grant program to local businesses downtown with some of the business expansions into the right of way. And so we've been kept busy in that way. As far as our meeting structure here and when we might return back to the confines of City Hall, I am uncertain at this point. It's something that we've had discussions with our senior staff, but we have not identified a date as to when meetings would return back to City Hall. At this point, City Hall still does remain closed, albeit we do have some staff working there. I'm visiting there probably once or twice a week as well on various items as well. So in the near future, we're at it the way we are, but I don't have a time frame as to when that would end. Look at our schedule here. I know that we've got a planning commission meeting coming up in 2 weeks. I think I may have one item on there. I spoke to someone about a potential variance. There may also be a site plan that might come forward, albeit I'm not sure if it would be this one or the next meeting. So it seems likely that the meeting on the 22nd would be held at this point. So I can stand for any questions that the commissioners may have.
Well, I see Dan has joined us. Welcome, Dan. You're probably hiding in the wings anyway, huh?
Nope, just other meeting ran long.
I guess I would be remiss if I didn't ask about the Hudson Building.
Yeah, with the Hudson Building, where it's moving forward, financing still remains in place, hotel operator commitment still remains in place. The development rate has been slowed on that one. They are anticipating getting in there and doing roof and tuck pointing here as June and July moves forward on that one. But they've been finishing up some of the landscaping over the last couple of months there, finishing up the observation area. But yeah, it's going slower than we had hoped on that one, certainly. Our commitment to it as far as environmental cleanup is 99% done. We've got probably about 2 or 3 days left of work left in that.
Well, anything else, commissioners? Hearing nothing, I guess I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn in a second.
A second.
And are we calling roll?
Oh, sure. One more time. Commissioner Hopper,
Aye.
Commissioner Romans,
Aye.
Commissioner Messina,
Aye.
Commissioner Siebenhaler,
Aye.
and Chair Johnson.
All right, we are adjourned.
Okay, thank you, guys.